30 days.
Consistency. How would you rate yourself? For a whole month, I tried to go running every day to see how it affected my physical and mental health. They say it takes at least 21 days to develop a new habit and roughly 66 days for it to become automatic. So what can we accomplish in 30? Is it possible to go from dreading the idea of running every morning to suddenly doing it without thinking? In this video, I'm going to show what happens when you run every day and how it might just change the way you live your life. Stick around to the end because I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how not to end up like most others who try this challenge and get injured after about 5 runs. So first, let's start with the why. Why did I decide to do this? It all started one day when I woke up knowing I probably should go out and exercise, but the fact that I would be going out purely to avoid growing a second or third chin didn't really motivate me that much. I didn't want to go out running, didn't particularly want to leave my bed, and my enthusiasm for work, whether corporate or creative, was at an all-time low. Scrolling through Instagram did not help this mood, what with it basically being a highlight reel of everyone's achievements, and memes, but we don't mind those. Now, up until this winter, I used to really enjoy running. What do we think, guys? Should we go for it? 7 marathons in 1 year. No guts, no glory. The last great run I did was in October when I took part in the record-breaking virtual London Marathon. The next month, to coincide with my book launch, book available on Amazon, I ran another marathon. But by then a lot had changed. After 2 weeks in quarantine, training had all but stopped. And by the time it came to running the marathon, I sort of just hobbled around for 26.2 miles. It was a bit pathetic, to be honest. It wasn't a valiant finish at all, and afterwards I just stopped running altogether. Burnout, lockdown-induced poor mental health, probably a bit of both. But the fact of the matter is, without a marathon or any kind of big goal to work towards, I just stopped running altogether. Goal hopping. I define goal hopping as essentially living from one highlight to another. In some cases, it's from one marathon to the next. For many of us, it can be from living from one weekend to the next. But what does that leave for all that is in between? Do we enjoy the waiting, the training, the grinding, or is it just a means to an end? Well, eventually this illusion of just waiting for the next big thing in my life became too unfulfilling. Thus, I set about trying something that I had never attempted before. A routine without a goal. I challenged myself to run every day for 30 days. The only rule was that I had to run at least a mile a day. This is commonplace in any run streak, the unwritten rule in the running community. You've got to do at least a mile. Now, I've seen many other YouTubers do 5k a day. Some even trying 10k. And unsurprisingly, the majority of them got injured. So going from 0 to 5k is a bit extreme. So if I felt a bit fatigued in a 10, 11 minute mile, that'll be plenty, that'll be enough. As long as I get a mile down, that'll be fine. Now, you might be thinking, hang on Ellis, silly sausage. Doesn't running for 30 days, doesn't that count as a goal? And yeah, I suppose it does. But keep watching to the end and you'll find out what the true intention of this challenge really was. So without further waffle, let's see how it went. The first few days I took it easy with the mileage. Don't want to shock the body with this sudden demand. I started off with a cheeky mile and built up to no more than 4.5 miles in one go. It might look easy, but when you add all of this up, it comes to 17.5 miles for the first week alone. That's quite a jump, so with the 10% rule in mind, I went about the second week with the aim of not going over 20 miles, 10% rule being you don't do any more than 10% of your previous week's mileage. Now, I don't run with a watch, I don't really measure my pace because those type of statistics don't really bother me. All I was interested in was how many days I've done in my run streak and how many miles I've actually managed to do just from running every day. Now, I keep them logged in this nice little Word document. It's nothing too fancy, but I tell you what, it is really satisfying seeing the numbers go up, seeing the mileage go up, and just see how much you've managed to do just from being consistent, just doing a little bit each day over a long period of time. I started to feel a bit slow and heavy, although that can be forgiven because we did have quite a bit of snow around this time. And if you ever run in the snow before, you know it could be quite taxing on the calves. It cleans your shoes really nicely and it gets all the cyclists off the road, but it's very tiring, so it builds up the legs quite strong, and you can be damn sure that my arse was rather firm by the end of it all. I also started to mix things up, not just with the distance, but with the routes as well. Sometimes I'll just do a hill run, sprint up a hill for 10-11 minutes, and that would be my work done for the day. It's quite a lot to sprint up a hill, and even if it's just 10 minutes, that counts as a nice workout as well, and you don't have to do any more. You've already given your legs a good shock. That'll do. By this point, running has become part of my routine. It's in the stage of becoming second nature, and you might be surprised to hear as well that after each run, I do feel a greater sense of energy than when I set off. You might be thinking, oh, you must be tired after all that, but I actually do feel more energized and more excited to go on to do more tasks in my day. You get a sense of self-accomplishment already, just from, even if it's just 10 minutes, you get that accomplishment and you want to carry it into your other tasks. Really does help with the productivity, and as such it's actually really helped in the writing of my second book at the moment. Over the past couple of weeks since doing this challenge, I've been really pleased with the stuff that I've written. So overall it's complementing my other tasks as well, which you might be surprised because you're exercising, but it actually gives you more energy. There is a bit of muscle tightness, but it's nothing to stop me moving. I've also been a little bit of an insomniac lately, so on those days where I'm feeling a little bit more tired, all I've got to do is just do a mile. Only a mile. Every stride, I'm powering towards glory. Every step is a step towards this idealistic self that you want to be. You know when people say, oh, be the best you? Well, if that ever had any meaning, then I was finding it through this. I'm proper enjoying this and I feel great. In fact, let's cut to one of those runs where the runner's high just says it all. So here we are then, there's just a bit of smoke blowing in my face, so if I start choking then I haven't got the Miley Cyrus, I'm just having my lungs filled. Anyway, this is pretty mental. I think the biggest success about this whole little experiment, this challenge, was the fact that I want to continue it. I don't just want to do 30 days, I want to keep going. I want to see how long that I can actually get this to continue for. So I'm going to check back, hopefully after however so many days, and see what it's like actually going beyond the 30 days. Because some people do run streaks that go thousands of days. There's one geezer, I think his name's Hella Good on YouTube. He just runs every day for the rest of his life, I think. And I think it's brilliant. And he seems to be enjoying it. So I'm thinking, how far can I go? We'll see where we go from there. The only difficulty I found through these 30 days was during the first week, then I felt a little bit lethargic, just bringing the body up to the demands that I'm trying to give it. And at around day 23, I did get a bit of a tight calf, although again, it was nothing to stop me running. In fact, even when I started running, it just loosened up again, and it did the job for me. Of course, the whole reason for these issues, whether it's a bit of muscle tightness or whatnot, is just from me going for it too much, me thinking I'm Mo bloody Farah. The thing is, if you do ease yourself into this and you manage to swallow the pride of wanting to go a bit faster, then even if you're a beginner, this is a really accessible challenge to do. So if I was to give 2 tips to people considering doing this challenge or thinking of starting running and doing it every day, then it would be ease yourself into it by respecting that 10% rule. So whatever you do in your first week, tiny little increments. So if you do 10 miles in a week, 10% of that is a mile. So don't do any more than a mile. And the thing is, it might sound like painfully slow, but it really does add up over time. So be patient with yourself. And the second tip would be to swallow that pride, whether that's to go faster or to just go and do a ridiculous distance, just by doing a little bit, just by doing 1 mile runs where necessary. And you can base the whole streak off your 1 mile runs. If you already run 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, then those rest days can just become the 1 mile runs. Think of it as active recovery combined with also taking steps towards this new routine of yours. Finally, some of you might be wondering about weight loss. The goal wasn't to lose weight, however I did check how much I did lose over the past 30 days, and not much at all, only about half a kilo. It did go up and down, and I tried to keep my diet constant, although I did go and have a Domino's with my nan the other day. Takeaway. While the weight hasn't changed much, one thing that has changed is that a lot of the fat has burnt off around my stomach already. These tits are much tighter than they were before, which is very pleasing. I won't do before and after pictures, mainly because I'm a bit hairy at this time of year, but having just a bit less fat is very encouraging. While your weight might not change too much, it will certainly help burn off any some of that excess gravy that you might have accumulated over Christmas. So I would 100% recommend giving this a go. It's a really fun challenge. It's a chance to form new habits and, well, try something new, innit? So if you found this video interesting, do feel free to subscribe and give a thumbs up. Helps out a lot. If you've attempted a run streak before, done this 30-day challenge, or if you're in the process of doing it, please do leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. But until then, guys, take care, and I'll catch you later.